In the world of 5th-gen K-pop, 3 rookie groups are breaking the rules: UNIS, ILLIT, and BABYMONSTER. One debuted with a ticking clock, one shattered records from day one, and one built millions of fans before even stepping on stage. In today's video, we'll break down their rise from the very beginning, talking origins, debut numbers, global fandoms, and even the controversies they've had to face. Some of what we found might really surprise you. So hit like, tap the bell, and subscribe if you love smart K-pop stories. Let's get into it. This is NM60 Kpop. Let's dive into where it all began, because in K-pop, a group's origin story isn't just backstory, it's strategy. First up, UNIS. Formed through the high-stakes survival show Universe Ticket, 82 trainees competed, but only 8 earned their debut. Unlike most rookies, UNIS isn't backed by a typical K-pop agency. They're managed by F&F Entertainment, a Korean fashion company with zero idol experience. That makes their March 2024 debut with UNIS even more surprising. The lineup, intentionally multinational, brings together members from South Korea, Japan, and beyond, designed for global impact. If you saw our deep dive on their unusual contract, you already know there's more to their story. If not, check the card above. Now meet ILLIT, HYBE's boldest move since New Jeans. Born from the show Are You Next? Produced with JTBC, 6 winners were chosen. But just before debut, Youngseo suddenly dropped out. The group launched as 5 in March 2024 with Super Real Me under HYBE's BABYMONSTER lab. With major hype and one standout Japanese member, ILLIT had to prove they weren't just another HYBE experiment. They had to deliver. And finally, BABYMONSTER, YG's long-awaited successor to Blackpink. After years of teasing, they debuted in April 2024 following the survival show Last Evaluation. But even before launch, they had already made noise with Batter Up and Stuck in the Middle. With members from Korea, Japan, and Thailand, BABYMONSTER wasn't just promising. They were already dominating. So whether it was through a brutal show, a last-minute dropout, or years of YG buildup, UNIS, ILLIT, and BABYMONSTER didn't just debut. They arrived with something to prove. But how did they perform once the spotlight hit? When it comes to contracts, UNIS stands out instantly. As a project group formed through a survival show, they were only guaranteed a 2.5-year deal from the start. Unless something changes, their disbandment is already scheduled for mid-2026. That's a sharp contrast to the 7-year contracts most idols sign. With time running from day one, every comeback, every moment with fans means more. And big goals, like world tours or full discographies, might never happen. Meanwhile, ILLIT and BABYMONSTER signed the typical long-term contracts, about 7 years, as outlined by Korea's Fair Trade Commission. That gives them time to build, grow, and evolve without a countdown. But it also means more structure. HYBE and YG are known for strict early control, unspoken dating bans, polished public images, and company-first profit models until costs are recovered. For ILLIT, being under BABYMONSTER lab means full integration into HYBE's system, Weverse, branded events, and ecosystem exposure. But it also means fewer solo moves unless greenlit by the label. And BABYMONSTER? They've got YG's global firepower, but also YG's infamous slow rollout strategy. Just ask any Blink. One thing's for sure, their path won't be fast, but it might be massive. And if this video gets enough love, we'll release the full BABYMONSTER deep dive soon. Financially, all 3 groups run on the same engines: album sales, merch, streaming, and live shows. But scale changes everything. UNIS likely splits profits across multiple parties. ILLIT and BABYMONSTER, meanwhile, are built for global reach. HYBE has Geffen and Polydor, YG has YouTube and world tours in the works. So yes, UNIS is sprinting. ILLIT and BABYMONSTER are playing the long game. But contracts don't win fandoms. The real question is, what happened when the spotlight hit? So, how did each group perform when they finally stepped into the spotlight? Let's start with UNIS. Coming from a smaller agency, they delivered a surprisingly strong debut. Their music video for Superwoman reached 2.5 million views in the first 24 hours and passed 10 million just weeks later. Their mini-album We UNIS sold over 50,000 copies in 5 days, ranking among the top 10 girl group debuts at the time. They also hit number 2 on Korea's real-time album chart and charted on iTunes top albums in countries like the US, UK, and Philippines. For a group outside the Big Four, that kind of global impact is rare. And their momentum didn't stop there. Swicey, the title track from their latest comeback, reached over 5 million views in just under 4 days, and it's still climbing fast. Now, if UNIS made noise, ILLIT came in like an earthquake. Backed by Hybe, their debut album Super Real Me sold over 370,000 copies in its first week, breaking the record for highest debut week sales for a female K-pop group. Their title track Magnetic didn't just trend, it charted. It entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 91, making ILLIT the first K-pop girl group to debut on that chart with a first single. On Spotify, Magnetic broke into the global daily top 10 and passed 100 million streams faster than any other K-pop debut. The MV hit number 1 on YouTube's global trending chart, and the album entered the Billboard 200. That's not just big, it's history. And if you've been rooting for ILLIT since the Survival Show days, consider hitting like or dropping a super thanks. It helps us keep breaking down moments like this. Then came BABYMONSTER, and they didn't just follow the trend, they raised the bar. Their debut album sold over 400,000 copies, reportedly breaking ILLIT's record just weeks later. The MV for Sheesh reached 100 million views in just 10 days, the fastest for any K-pop debut. Even their pre-debut track Batter Up set records of its own. On Spotify, Sheesh entered the global top 10, and in Korea, it became their first top 10 hit on the Circle Digital chart. The message was clear. BABYMONSTER wasn't just meeting expectations, they were redefining them. All three groups have built passionate fan bases, but the speed, scale, and strategy behind that growth couldn't be more different. For UNIS, the fandom began forming even before debut, thanks to their survival show Universe Ticket. Viewers followed their favorite contestants closely, and when the final lineup was revealed, that loyalty carried over. This gave UNIS a strong foundation, especially in the members' home countries. 2 members are Filipina, which instantly boosted their popularity in the Philippines. Since debut, their YouTube channel has grown past 700,000 subscribers, and their Instagram and TikTok accounts hold 6-figure followings. Fans often go by names like Universe or Unistory, and while the fandom isn't the biggest, it's one of the most active, organizing streaming campaigns, voting in music shows, and supporting every comeback. ILLIT, on the other hand, experienced a fan explosion almost overnight. Backed by Hybe's global engine, they passed 1 million YouTube subscribers just weeks after debut, and recently crossed 2 million. Their fandom, officially called GULLIT, stretches across Asia, North America, and Europe. Thanks to exposure from Are You Next, ILLIT was already trending online before even dropping music. On debut day, they trended worldwide on Twitter and quickly gained momentum across TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify. Within months, they held a fan event in Paris, proof that their popularity had gone global fast. Young and digitally savvy, GULLIT run streaming parties, hashtag trends, and fan votes like seasoned pros. Then there's BABYMONSTER, whose fandom rise feels more like a global takeover. Even before debut, they had millions of YouTube subscribers thanks to YG's survival content and slow burn strategy. Less than a year in, their channel has surpassed 9 million subscribers and 4.3 billion total views. Their fanbase is incredibly global, strong in Thailand, Japan, Indonesia, the US, Brazil, and across Europe. YG even announced their first world tour while they were still rookies, something almost unheard of. With non-stop streaming, sold-out merch, and viral moments across platforms, BABYMONSTER's fandom mirrors the explosive energy once seen with Blackpink. And with a multicultural lineup, their global appeal is built into their DNA. Then with explosive success, each of these rookies has faced serious challenges. And for some, the pressure hits harder than the spotlight. UNIS may have the most uncertain path. Their contract ends in mid-2026, meaning disbandment is already marked on the calendar. That looming deadline creates constant urgency for the members and the fans. Every comeback feels like it could be their last. Some fans have even launched petitions begging F&F Entertainment to extend the group's future. But it doesn't stop there. UNIS also faced controversy around their formation. One member debuted at just 12 years old, while the oldest was 22. That wide age gap, combined with the high-stress survival format, sparked conversations about minors in the K-pop industry. And unlike their rivals, UNIS is navigating it all under a brand new agency with limited resources. In a cutthroat rookie scene, that's a tough position to hold. ILLIT hit their own bump before even launching. Just 2 months before debut, HYBE announced that Young Seo, one of the 6 original winners of Are You Next, had ended her contract. She would not debut with the group. Fans were shocked. Young Seo had been a favorite, and her sudden exit forced ILLIT to rework everything as a 5-member team. While their debut was a record-breaker, the comparisons came fast. New jeans, Ella Seraphim, and questions about whether ILLIT could stand out in HYBE's crowded lineup. So far, they've managed to define their own lane, but following a historic debut, the pressure to top it is only getting stronger. And then there's BABYMONSTER, who had to fight through silence, rumors, and legacy. Their debut kept getting delayed, and when YG finally confirmed that trainee Ayeon would not debut due to health reasons, fans were stunned. The group went from 7 to 6, and YG's slow response during the speculation only added fuel. But even bigger than the member change was the narrative. The next Blackpink. A blessing and a curse. From day one, expectations skyrocketed, and some longtime Blinks weren't exactly ready to pass the torch. BABYMONSTER had to prove they weren't a sequel. They were something entirely new. Each of these groups has faced real pressure, unexpected roadblocks, and intense scrutiny. But in many ways, that's what makes their rise so powerful. Each of these rookie groups is on a different path, but all of them are rewriting what it means to debut in K-pop. And here, at NM60 K-pop, we're breaking it down every week. Comebacks, controversies, contracts, and the stories no one else is telling. Have you felt the impact of this episode? Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because next week's video might just blow your mind even more. This is where K-pop gets real. This is NM60 K-pop.